Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. We're about to take you inside the Economic Club of Chicago, where Donald Trump just delivered an economic masterclass that left the crowd on their feet. While Kamala Harris was busy dodging debates, Trump was laying out a vision for America that had economists cheering, literally. Economists? How do you get economists to cheer? Well, anyway, we're talking standing ovations, folks. But it's not just what Trump said, it's what it means for the future of our economy and this election. So stay tuned, because this is a story that's about to blow your mind. Now, folks, Trump's Chicago performance, it was a masterclass in rejuvenation, just like this collagen supplement. While Trump's bringing life back to our economy, this product is bringing youth back to your skin. After 20, we lose 12% collagen per decade. Did you know that? That's why you need this special magic powder. It's got the top 5 collagen types for skin health, reducing wrinkles and promoting that youthful glow. You see? You see that? You see, Trump even had that glow on stage. You're going to see it. Now, you can get it at 51% off at healthwithgary.com. You'll also receive free VIP coaching, an ebook on skin-friendly foods, a 60-day guarantee, and free shipping. Don't let your skin economy crash. Invest in yourself at healthwithgary.com. Okay, let's get right into it, because this is one of the big stories of the day. Stephen Miller chiming in right off the bat. Trump's Bloomberg interview at the Economic Club was the greatest live interview any political leader or politician has done on the economy in our lifetimes, period. So that is Stephen Miller. Of course, he's one of Trump's top advisors, one of my favorite guys. And this is how it ended. Look at these people. Look at this. Look at these people just standing up. Look at them all. They are just on their feet for Donald
Trump. What are you going to do if Trump wins? I grew up in a middle-class family.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes the memes take over the show. Okay, well, yes, here's another one. Another shot of that crowd. The Economic Club loves the real president. Also in Illinois, maybe you didn't know this, the Illinois Department of Transportation, we're going to get into the Trump stuff today, but this was going viral, 2 million hits. My buddy Tom sent it to me, and the Illinois Department of Transportation workers, they were laughing while they were stealing Marie Oakes Trump 2024 election signs. Look at this. This is criminal behavior by Illinois officials, but we expect nothing less. Listen. You hear him laughing? Yeah. So while Trump is in Chicago delivering a master class on the economy, folks on the Illinois payroll are stealing Trump signs, making it harder for people to learn about our next commander-in-chief. Now, here's how it really began. It was quite embarrassing. Now, Kamala is, she's saying that Trump won't debate her and Trump won't release her medical records and all this stuff. She didn't even go to that famous dinner, the Catholic dinner, the charity for the children. She didn't even go to that. Or she wasn't planning on it. Did it happen yet? I don't think it happened yet. I would have seen that. But no. Bloomberg News editor-in-chief John, not even going to try to pronounce his last name, just for the record says Economic Club and Bloomberg invited Vice President, but she declined.
The first is just for the record and for those people watching on television. The Economic Club of Chicago and Bloomberg both invited Vice President Harris to a similar interview about her economic plans that she has declined so far.
It's because she has no economic plans. There is no way Kamala Harris could take the heat in front of economists. Okay? There's no way. They would be analyzing every word out of her mouth. They'd be like, wait a second, what did she say? All she does is talk in circles. Just word salads. Every single day, it's a word salad from her. So we've got quite a few clips. Let's get through them here. So the question was asked, why should voters trust you? Let's hear President Trump's answer.
Why should they trust you with that?
Because we're about growth. She's got no growth whatsoever, and we're all about growth. We're going to bring companies back to our country. You look at even today, as I was driving over, I see these empty, old, beautiful, like steel mills and factories that are empty and falling down. Some have been converted to senior citizens' homes, but that's not going to do the trick. And we're going to bring the companies back. We're going to lower taxes still further for companies that are going to make their product in the USA. We're going to protect those companies with strong tariffs, because I'm a believer in tariffs. I'm not sure that you are. I don't think you are, but I congratulate you on your career. But to me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff. And it's my favorite word. It needs a public relations firm to help it. But
now, he's getting a lot of heat for talking about these tariffs. And they're claiming that the Trump tariffs are going to destroy America, right? Well, let's take a brief moment before we jump into the rest of Trump's talk. Let's see what they had to say on CNBC. Trump War Room posted this is the best explanation that they've heard. This is from the Trump transition chair, Howard Lutnick, outlining how President Trump will use tariffs to protect the American worker. I mean, it's simple. He wants jobs in America. He wants the manufacturing in America. And if it's in America, it's not going to be subject to tariffs. It's going to keep all the people from leaving this country. It's going to force them to stay in this country and the jobs here and the money here. It's very simple economics. But Kamala Harris wants you to think that it's going to somehow destroy the country. They've got 51 economists who've all said this is going to create inflation. Right. The same 51 economists, right, who signed that letter, who said that Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation. Yeah, I know they weren't economists, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's a joke. Okay, let's get to it.
Want to do it strategic.
When you talk to the former president about tariffs, do you see it as a bargaining chip, or do you think you're going to see tariffs across the board of 20%?
I think we should put tariffs on stuff we make and not put tariffs on stuff we don't make. It's pretty simple. And of course it's a bargaining chip. We can't sell a Ford or GM in Europe. You go to Europe, you can't sell a Ford or GM. Why? There's 100% tariffs. How about in Japan? 100% tariffs. So do you think if we said, we're going to tariff you the way you tariff us, do you think they're going to allow Mercedes and all these Japanese companies and Porsches and BMWs to all of a sudden have 100% tariffs in America? Of course not. They're going to come and negotiate, and their tariffs are going to come down. And finally, Ford and General Motors are going to be able to sell in these places.
How's that sound, Andrew?
Of course they're going to come down. Of course. This is just negotiating.
It absolutely makes sense. If you do it strategically, if it's across the board, it creates a real problem. And the question is whether you believe the president is going to do it strategically or across the board. He keeps saying it across the board.
Well, when you're running for office, you make broad statements so people understand you.
Right.
Okay? Tariffs are an amazing tool by the president to use. They're an amazing tool, but he understands don't tariff stuff we don't make. Right? If we don't make it, and you want to buy it, I don't want to put the price up there. It's pointless. But use tariffs to build in America. If we want to make it in America, tariff it. Or if we're competing with it, tariff it. But you got to remember, we need to protect the American worker. Finally, someone's going to protect the American worker. And Donald Trump is here to protect the American worker.
Do you think we make a lot of money in tariffs, or if they're used as negotiating tactics? Look, tariffs will come down there. We're not going to have super high tariffs here either. There's not going to be a big pot of money at the end of the day.
I love that story. So which is it? Do we make a lot of money on tariffs, or we bring productivity here and we drive up our workers here? So it's a win-win scenario.
It's a win-win scenario. Tariffs. I know tariffs aren't like the most exciting thing to talk about, but they are an effective tool, and Kamala Harris is using them for fear tactics. So let's go. We're going to continue the talk on tariffs at the Economic Club, where Trump got a standing ovation. Trump said there are no tariffs, and the host was confused. Listen.
there are no tariffs.
Tariffs also have another side. Isn't that something that you have to acknowledge?
No.
You could be plunging America into the biggest trade war since Smoot-Hawley.
But there are no tariffs.
You're going to stop. There are tariffs already at the moment.
There are no tariffs. All you have to do is build your plant in the United States, and you don't have any tariffs.
But people, in a lot of places like this, tariffs also have
Oh,
another
yeah. That's all you got to do. Just build your plant in the U.S. and you got no tariffs. There you go. President Trump will stop American jobs from being shipped overseas. Here's more.
Favor John. His name is John. I don't want to give his last name because he might not like it. But I said, I want to see an auto plant. I want to go and see one of these. You press a button and everything works, right? I want to see one of the big ones. He said, all right, good. I said, where do we go? I'd like to go to Michigan. I'd like to go to someplace in the United States. He said, no, we can't do that. Why? We're not building anything big in the United States. That's not where we don't build the big ones here. I said, where are you building the biggest ones? He said, in Mexico. We're building giant plants, the biggest plants anywhere in the world. In Mexico, I said, so you mean they're going to make cars cheaply? They have advantages over labor and other things, and they're going to sell them into the United States, and they're going to put Michigan out of business. Is that what? I don't know anything about that. All I do is build the plants. If you want to see a plant, we'll go to Mexico. I'll show you the biggest plant in the world. That was 9 months ago. I saw him, and I talked about it all the time because I think it's a serious threat to our country, because not only autos, but other things. So then I see him. 2 days ago, I was talking at another club, very nice club, and like this, except, I don't know, I think you people are probably even wealthier, okay? This was in Detroit, okay, which was appropriate. And I was showing them all sorts of charts about how their car, it's just gone down. It's like terrible. And I saw him, and I said, oh, how are you doing? How have you been? I said, could I ask you, how are those plants that you mentioned, those giant plants that you're building in Mexico, how is that coming along? Have you finished them? No, sir. They abandoned the project when they heard you're running. They abandoned the project when they saw that you were winning and doing well. I said, well,
All the same.
because I told them, and I said it publicly, they're not going to sell one car into the United States. I said, if I run this country, if I'm going to be president of this country, I'm going to put a 100, 200, 2,000% tariff. They're not going to sell one car into the United States because we're not going to destroy our country because I know you're an anti-tariff guy, but I'm the exact opposite. If I had, there was no other way I could have stopped them other than, what am I going to do, negotiate with Mexico or China? You're not going to get anything from that. I said I'm going to put a 100, 200, or 300. I'm going to put the highest tariff in history, meaning I'm going to stop them from ever selling a car into the United States. So I just see the guy by accident. I see him. He says, sir, they've abandoned and by the way, they built foundations. They were really rocking. They were going to do it. They thought that I was going to win, or maybe they're just holding off. I tell you this, if I don't win, those factories are going to wipe out this country. They're the biggest factories ever built for cars. They're going to wipe out our country. If she wins, and she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. If she wins, she's not going to be thinking about, I couldn't, every speech I made having to do with cars, but every speech I made having to do with tariffs, I'd mentioned that our country is being threatened by Mexico. Now, all of those things, beyond even the car companies, all of those things are now dead. They're dead. I asked him, will they start? Probably not. They're dead as...
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. They just heard he was doing good. They're like, pause the project. Hold it. We can't do that. That's amazing. So we've got some more stuff on the tariffs here. Okay, here's an interesting thing. More than half voters actually support slapping 10% tariffs on all imports in boost for Trump's populist protectionist policy. That's from the Daily Mail. That just came out. President Trump says the higher the tariff, the more likely it is the company will come into the U.S. and build a factory. So I don't want to beat tariffs to death, but because of the level of disinformation that's being peddled by the Kamala Harris campaign, as if this is some kind of threat, this is actually good for the middle class. That's where Kamala Harris hails from, right? She's from the middle class. This is going to help workers and blue collars and factories. This is what we need to build up in this country.
The tariff, the higher the tariff, the more likely it is that the company will come into the United States and build a factory in the United States so it doesn't have to pay the tariff.
Very simple. Very, very simple solution. President Trump tells a story how he negotiated a deal A new deal on trade with the late Japanese prime minister. Let's listen in.
A trade deficit of 300. Our allies have taken advantage of us more so than our enemies. Our allies are the European Union. We have a trade deficit of $300 billion with the European Union. Our allies are Japan. You know, Abe was a very good friend of mine. He was a great guy, great. And I said to him in Japan, he was assassinated. And he was a great man. He really was. I didn't see too many like him. And he got very sick and he had to take off, and then he was actually making a comeback. He was going to make a comeback and he would have won easily. But he was a great gentleman, handsome, wonderful man, respected by everybody. And I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to talk. What? Trade. And he goes, I'll never forget it. I know. I said, what do you know? I knew you'd come to me. Why do you say that? Because I can't believe, I wouldn't tell the story if he was alive, actually. I said, I can't believe how many years it's been that nobody even negotiated with us in America. I said, Shinzo, you have to pay for your cars. You're sending millions of cars. You don't accept a car from us. You don't have one car that you accept, and yet we're selling 3 million, 4 million of your cars. I said, Shinzo, on agriculture, you won't even accept our agriculture. And I renegotiated the whole trade deal from a little disadvantage because I was stuck with a bad deal. I mean, we have trade deals that were so bad that I said, who are the people that are doing it? They're either very stupid or they're getting paid off, okay? It's one or the other. It's very simple.
The late Shinzo Abe, it was so sad. They took him out. And of course, they've tried repeatedly to take down Donald Trump. So yes, President Trump at the Economic Club. We got some more clips here for you. This is another thing that's really we should be paying attention to. We're talking about the aggression of China and Taiwan. And this is a very simple statement he makes. Listen.
Well, the reason they're doing it now.
You have said that Taiwan should pay for U.S. protection.
Yeah.
I ask because this morning you just mentioned North Korea. The Chinese army, literally as we speak, are engaged in rehearsals for a full naval blockade of Taiwan. So I suppose my question to you, if China invades Taiwan, would you send American troops to defend it?
Well, the reason they're doing it now is they're not going to do it afterwards, okay? So it's, so they're doing it now. They want to do it China. Look, I had a very good relationship with President Xi, and a very good relationship with Putin, and a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un, who has a nuclear force that you won't even believe.
You know, I hate how they ask these questions. The media is so dishonest. They're trying to get him to pick a side. Yes, I will send in troops right away if China makes a move. All that's telegraphing that language is only going to either tilt our hand or piss them off. So why would you even answer that? And he answered that with pure genius.
It now is they're not going to do it afterwards, okay? So it's, so they're doing it now.
And American troops to defend it.
Well, the reason they're doing it now is they're not going to do it afterwards, okay? So it's, so they're doing it now.
I mean, it's perfect answer. They're not going to do it when he is in the Oval Office. But all the aggression, all the wars that we've seen taking place all over the world is because they see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as weakness. None of this stuff would have happened on Trump's watch. Mark my words. We had no wars under Trump. So they're taking advantage of us. President Trump will stop foreign countries from taking advantage of the U.S. on trade. Listen to this.
And so they're taking a tremendous advantage of us, $350 billion on trade, and we're then supporting them. In other words, it's not sustainable. You can't keep doing this. You can't have that, China, all of these countries. And stupid people made these deals. I saw trade deals that were so stupid that you'd have to be, that was so bad that you'd have to be an idiot to sign them. And we signed them for years. We had, I could tell you trade deals that I have never seen anything. I said, who would agree to this? They had to be corrupt. They had to be corrupt. To make those deals, They had to be corrupt because there is no way a rational human being, I always say either corrupt or extremely stupid, because there's no way a rational human being would ever sign the trade deals that this country signed. And I got out of many of those deals.
Stupid people, no question. That's why we need a businessman in the White House and not stupid politicians that just pander to groups so they can get more donations. Here's more President Trump on the Wall Street Journal.
Everything. So, what does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about
No, you're trying to turn this into debate. There are
It's
business
not a debate.
people. There
No,
are
but
business
you're wrong.
people.
You've been wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff.
Oh, call them out. Oh, here's more.
Drive up debt. People are betting that your policies are going to drive up debt. They're going to drive up inflation. So they're going to drive up interest rates. Are the investors wrong?
Yeah, I had 4 years no inflation. I had 4 years no inflation.
But that was when you had much.
I had 4 years. It's better than that. And Biden, who has no idea where the hell he is, okay? Biden went 2 years with no inflation because he inherited from me. And then they started spending money like drunken sailors.
Drunken sailors. I have other words for those people, but he's being kind. Then the information shifted, the conversation shifted into immigration.
I want a lot of people to come into our country, but I want them to come in legally. I don't want to have...
That means you will have to deport. You know, you are talking about deporting 11 million people. That is a lot of people to take out.
It came out last week that 425,000 people are horrible criminals at the highest level, but it came out that 13,099 were let in during their administration. They tried to say longer, wrong. Over the last 3.5 years, 13,000 plus people came in, murderers. They're in jail for murder. Some were having the death penalty. They were all released into our country. 13,099 people were released into our country. We had drug dealers released. We had street gangs released. Look at what's happening in Aurora. But now I don't have to go with Aurora anymore. Look at what happened last night in Times Square, where rough migrants from all over the place. You know, it's not just South America. We have people coming in from the Congo, large numbers from the Congo and Africa. They came in, as of last night, I was speaking to Tom Homan, 180 countries. People came in. They came from prisons and jails. They came from mental institutions and insane asylums, a step above. They came from the terrorists. We had large numbers of terrorists come in. When I was president, we had the strongest border in the history of our country. I built hundreds of miles of wall, and walls work, by the way. Hundreds of miles. We had the best numbers we've ever had. Now we have the worst numbers. And here's the problem. We have some of the worst criminals in the world coming in. Now, Venezuela, their crime has gone down at levels that nobody's ever seen before because they've taken their street gangs and their drug dealers and they've emptied their prisons. Not fully because they can't get enough buses. They've emptied their prisons. They load up the buses and they drive them into the United States, and they're dropping their prisoners into our country. Their crime is down. Their numbers are crazy how low it's dropped. I heard 72, 74%. They've taken their gangs. They've taken their criminals off the street. They've taken their people out of mental institutions, which cost them a fortune, and they've taken them and dropped them into the United States of America. Those people have to be returned. We can't live with thousands of murderers and not...
But of course, that guy doesn't care. He would love to see all those murderers just continually wreaking havoc on the streets of this country, because at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want the United States to come to heel, to bow before the globalists. They want to create just chaos and just dissension all across this country. That's the goal. What better way to do it than to empty the prisons from other nations? And then look what we have in Aurora, Colorado, taking over apartment buildings. Look what's happening in Ohio, Springfield, Ohio. I mean, New York, Chicago. We did a report on Chicago. We released it this morning. The murders from the Tren de Aragua gang, from the FOIA requests. Look at Terry Newsom's work. He's taking cameras right into the belly of the beast of Chicago, where Trump is, and all these gangs. We're about to start a turf war with the gangster disciples and the Latin kings. This is how bad it is. Oh boy, there's another great point. We talked about Gavin Newsom. Watch this. This is hilarious. This is pure Trump right here.
But how about this? Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California.
Newsom.
He signed Newsom, I call him.
But do you think...
No, he corrected me. He corrected me. I said, that's the first time I've been corrected.
There are CEOs out here, if they said those sort of things about a rival CEO, they'd be sacked. Do you think it's fine for a president?
But they don't have to survive like me. They don't have to go through what I have to go through. There's never been a president that's been treated like me, so I have to fight my own way.
Well, you made a very good job of...
He signed a bill in California 2 days ago that you don't even have the right to ask a person for voter ID. And if you ask a person for voter ID, of course you have to show voter ID. The only reason you wouldn't do, because they want to cheat. The bill says you cannot, it's against the law for you to ask a person, may I please see your voter ID when he votes? What is our country coming to?
Yeah, but you can't ask for a vote, an ID to vote. That's against the law. But if you want to go to the liquor store and buy alcohol, you have to show ID. If you want to go to the bank, open up a bank account, that's the law. You have to have an ID. You can't drive without a driver's license. I mean, are all those actions racist when you're trying to verify someone's age or where they're from or who they are? We all know what it's for. It's because they want to steal the election. Okay, we got a couple more clips here. Let's see. We got the labor argument. Okay, this is good too. Listen to this.
Kill people.
Many companies here have a shortage of labor.
Yeah, that's good. We'll take care of that. We're going to get people in here rapidly, and they're going to be people that want to be in here, and they're going to be people that can love our country and won't kill people because they don't like the way they look.
Many companies,
and of course,
here have a shortage of labor.
Yeah.
If you want people to come in our country, I want them to come in legally.
Legally. I don't want to have...
That means you will have to deport. You are talking about deporting 11 million people. That is a lot of people.
Okay. Yeah, it is. And he's going to start with the criminals, the murderers. But of course, we can close it out on the standing ovation, because look at those guys right there. They are so happy that he was there in Chicago, of all places. So Trump's performance in Chicago, it wasn't just a speech, it was a declaration of economic war on the failed policies of the Harris administration. From tariffs to job creation, Trump laid out a clear plan to make America great again. But here's the question. With Trump surging in the polls, Harris ducking debates, is the writing already on the wall for November? What do you think? Is Trump's economic vision, is it the key to victory? I think so. Sound off in the comments.